So as we get to the end of this football calendar year at Christmas time, Wednesday their final game against Port Vale at Hillsborough. Some big fixtures tonight, and Wednesday we're hoping if one or two results went their way they might be able to get into second spot. Barnsley just below us in the table, taking on Fleetwood. Plymouth against Wickham, and the big one we were hoping here that Portsmouth could do something against Ipswich, and if Wednesday got the win we could get up there into second place. So big game tonight, some really big fixtures there. So everything to play for at a packed Hillsborough. Port Vale bringing 3,000 fans up midweek on a Thursday night, fantastic following from them. Let's have a quick look at the Wednesday team. Two changes from Wednesday. Tariq Backinson dropped out to be replaced in midfield by Deli Bishiru. That meant a little bit of a shuffle with Deli Bishiru playing a more advanced role. The other changed, an enforced change, Callum Patterson in up front for the injured Lee Gregory who picked up a back injury in the last game. Other than that, it was as you were for Wednesday, who continue with their 3-5-2. Team Dawson in goal, back three of Palmer, McGuinness and James. Across the midfield, wing-backs, Marvin Johnson on the left, Alex Martin on the right, George Byers and Barry Bannon in midfield with Deli Bishiru, and up front, Smith and Patterson. So, Lee Gregory not recovered from that back injury he picked up against Fleetwood. Huge blow there. Do think he's our best striker in terms of what he brings to the team with his link play and his threatening 18-yard box. But it was an opportunity for Patterson to come in and step up to play. And again, another chance for Smith to form a partnership with somebody new. Changes in midfield. Backinson, I thought he had a sloppy game at Fleetwood, and the change to bring in Deli Bishiru, a more attacking player, especially at home, I thought was an understandable one. Really positive start by Wednesday. Bannon turns with a ball, drives on, gets at 3 or 4 players, pops one out wide once the players are drawn to him. Patterson puts a really nice cross into the box. Smith with knockdown with head, and Bannon's in there, just fires it over at Bard under pressure from man. A ball just won't come down quick enough for him, if you know what I mean. But really positive start from Wednesday. It's an hard working start from Wednesday. Patterson and Smith up front are really working hard. In midfield there's some lovely link play. Bannon's really orchestrating things from middle of park with his passing. Byers is keeping things moving, and it's really probably 18 minutes before Vale have the first opportunity, and it's Harrison, who was a lively player down at their place earlier in the season. He flashes a sort of overhead scissor kick off at bar, but Dawson weren't even scrambling for it, he knew it were wide. But convincing start from Wednesday, lots of good possession and really controlling game. There then follows one of them little spells in the game you get when there seems to be a lot happening at once. So the first thing is Smith gets played down left hand side. Man's all over him. He's absolutely all over him. I'm surprised he stays on his feet, but he shows really good strength. Plays Patterson in. Their lad, to be fair, makes a good stop because Patterson nudges ball out in front of him, takes the shot. It's their kid in the groin, shall we say. It's a good block. Ball pops back out, and then when it gets flipped back in again, rampant holding on Patterson and Smith, both being held front back. It's ref spots either one of them, it's a penalty. But really interesting little spell. But within 30 seconds of that, it's everybody's saying because Barry Bannon goes down. Now I've seen it said that it come from Johnson playing him an hospital pass, and there was a pass from Johnson that he squared to Bannon that was a little bit short, and Baz had to really stretch to get it, and he was struggling after that. And then the ball came back to him from, I think it was Deli Bishiru, and he had to turn away from his man. He was in close proximity. And then he knocked a little pass out to Johnson again, and this time he was like, you could see it go. But, well, a lot of blame's probably been attached to Johnson for initial hospital ball and Deli Bishiru getting it back to him when he'd pulled, although he probably weren't to know. 10 seconds before that, right at the start, Johnson's going up the left-hand side, and just as he's turning in, Bannon's already holding his hamstring. He's already holding his hamstring before Johnson knocks that pass into him, so it weren't a great pass, and it did leave him a lot to do, which might have aggravated it when he stretched with it, but he was already holding it before that, before the stretch, and then before the final pass. Anyway, Bannon's down, looks absolutely devastated, understandably, and he's replaced by Will Volks. It's funny because for all the good play we had, and I thought Wednesday dominated first half. I thought we controlled game. Nothing that clear cut apart from Patterson's shot into that kid's midriff, and the Bannon chance which went off at bar. And then when we take the lead, it's a bit fortuitous. It's a penalty. You see him given, but maybe I'm a bit old-fashioned. For me, if I concede that penalty, foul play, I'd be absolutely gutted. It's a corner of a took back. Wednesday's got a cluster of men in and around sort of penalty spot, a couple on front stick, and it completely misses everybody. And it's one of them things where you half expecting groans to go up. They've got two up back. I think one's at Addison. He goes up for header, misses it, and as he's coming down, it goes over his head. Kid behind him, not expecting it, obviously expecting him to win header. It sort of bounces and it just hits his arm, but there's nobody around him. There's no Wednesday player around him. It's not. And it's a penalty, and you take anything you can get, don't you? You take any little bit of luck you can get in a season. But to me, I saw it awarded, and I was like, whoa, blimey. Anyway, penalty it is. Michael Smith steps up, smashes it home into bottom corner. Fair play to the keeper, he went right way, but it just shows benefit of putting plenty of power on it, because although he went right way and he weren't that far away from it, he really smashed it into the bottom corner and give Wednesday a deserved lead, even if it were a fortuitous way that we got it. They always say you're never more likely to concede a goal than when you've just scored one, and 2 minutes after that, throwing down up front at South Stand, Palmer knocks it in, Byers turns. I love George Byers, probably my favourite player in many ways, but he turns, knocks a blind pass into the middle of the park, sells McGuinness well short. Wilson gets in, puts Addison in, and to be honest, he's got to bury that for me. In the position he's in, he's got to at least get that on target and test Dawson. But he don't. He drills it wide, and it's a big let off for Wednesday, even though they've controlled the game. Patterson and Smith. I'm not a big fan of two big lads up front. I like a mix, but they're actually working quite well. I'm not saying they're making a fantastic partnership, but in terms of work rate, they're absolutely working the bollocks off pair of them. Really putting themselves about. And Patterson seems to be in sprint mode for the entire game. He doesn't seem to be having a breather. He's charging about all over the place. And then just before break, McGuinness arrows a ball out to him on left flank, and he takes it down. I'm not kidding. That's the best first touch, taking a long pass down, I've seen at Hillsborough since Carboni left. Honestly, took it down right on touchline, and flag went up. And what he off? I don't think he were. I genuinely don't think he were off. Brilliant first touch, brings it down, and one of them late flags. That's a new thing and all, innit? Late flag. I mean, there were one in second half, I'll get to that, but one of their players, it was 15 yards offside. But they don't flag, do they? He waits till kid eventually touches ball 30 seconds after he would initially. And I know they're following rules and regulations, but God, I can't stand it, mate. Second half, it's a slow start for me. Wednesday ain't got that rhythm that they had in first half. First half, I thought we controlled it with a passing, thought we were moving the ball well. We're creating one or two half chances, not what I call full chances, but playing well. Second half, I thought we come out a bit static, little bit statues attack. First half, Palmer getting forward really, really well. I mean, he weren't right wing back, he was right sided centre half, but I thought he were getting forward really well in that first half. Palmer, we were almost playing as a full back. Second half, he's deeper, same on the other side. Johnson just seems to be tucked in a bit more, and James and Palmer are sort of really squeezed in there with McGuinness. And as the second half grew on, I just thought Port Vale was starting to grow into the game. Their manager made a host of changes. I was a bit surprised when he brought that Wilson off, and I was a little bit surprised with that, because I thought first half, although I thought Wednesday were well on top, I thought he would have played with them little bits of link play and a little bit of game intelligence, so I'm surprised he come off. But Vale was starting to grow. Wednesday was static. They sort of were dropping off a bit, and Vale saw that, like a wounded gazelle, and thought, right, we'll go for it, and I thought they did in second half. they'd brought a kid on, Robinson, at half time, and I thought he made a real difference with them. I'm looking at him and thinking, why didn't he start? Because he were one of the reasons we were getting pinned back. He were really having a good on that right hand side. He looked a really lively player. Not a big fan of his knockoff Neymar haircut, but he were lively. I mean, if he'd started the game, it could have been a different match from their point of view in an attacking sense. A couple of little flashpoints though. One bit he fouled Marvin Johnson, clear foul, referee didn't see it or whatever. Robinson breaks, Marv's got lip on a bit, comes back, gives him a little clip round ankle. Ref spots that one, obviously it was blatant. But Robinson's clapping Raiden Johnson's face, do you know what I mean? Like, I have suckered you in, and really sort of a top reaction. And it's that sort of thing, you know. Be a good player, you know, if you set a trap and somebody falls into it, if you get away with something and then you get them done for the same thing, all right, fair play, well done to you, but don't be a dick about it, because then things come back to haunt you, don't they? It was a really bad tackle on Smith, actually. He turns with the ball, puts Patterson away inside the left channel. Their kid comes out and clatters him right through shin, and I'm not kidding. If he's not just lifted his foot out at turf, that breaks his shin. I'm not kidding. If he's not just lifted his leg, that breaks his shin. It's a shocking tackle. Kid gets a yellow card, and it could have been a red, to be honest with you. It would have an appalling tackle. But Port Vale are really growing into the game at this stage, and it's Wednesday that's actually doing sort of countering. That Robinson again, brilliant run down right hand side, turns it inside out, in all honesty, puts a cross in, and Harrison does really well, gets in front of McGuinness. First time McGuinness has really lost him in game, to be honest with you. And he blazes of a bar, and he should really put that away, and it should be 1-1. They're really growing into game, and Wednesday needs something. They need to get some impetus back into game, and they get it through Smith with an absolutely fantastic goal. Reece James wins ball, gets it head up, finds Smith with a pass. It's a really good pass, but there's not too much on, and Smith sort of drifts in. You know, he's a big lad, and I don't want to do the cliche, good feet for the big man, but there's not that much on. He drifts inside first man. He has another little touch out. I thought he were going to take it too far backwards on himself, actually. Then he just wraps his foot round it and puts it in far corner from 20 yards. It's an absolutely fantastic goal, deserving a win in any game, to be honest with you. Wednesday leading 2-0, and then there's that little bit of relief because Vale were growing into the game. And do you remember me saying about Robinson clapping in Johnson's face and being a bit of a prat? Well, he knows when Smith banged that one in. Everyone's running to Smith to celebrate, and I saw Marv running in to celebrate, and then he ran straight past Smith, went like just body swerve straight past him. I thought, where's he off to? He was straight over to Robinson, weren't he? To give him a bit of nah. If you've got a mouth, it's going to come back and bite you on the arse at some stage, innit? Man of the match. It's easy for me, man of the match. But I'm going to mention a couple of other people first. Firstly, I want to mention Callum Patterson. I thought he absolutely worked his bollocks off today, Callum Patterson. I know not everybody's cup of tea, and I know he's not a striker as such, but worked his socks off. And you've got to have players doing that in this division. You know, you can play nice stuff, you can have possession, but you've got to have everybody in the team working the socks off. And him and Smith, from the front today, I thought they were tireless in the work that they did. So a big mention for Patterson there. I thought Parman had a very good first half. I thought he were getting forward really well. In fact, I thought he were probably getting forward more than Myton, who were the right wing back, who should be the one who was getting forward really. I thought he faded a bit in the second half, as all Wednesday team did, but I thought Parman had a good first half. Reece James is quickly becoming one of my favourite players. Really intelligent use of ball. Fantastic timing. It's not massive, but he intercepts a lot. He steps into things. Really good with that. He is a good tackler at ball, both block tackles and sliding. And the way he uses the ball, honestly, he passes the ball like a centre midfield ball player. You know, he's playing Apparently he's left back or whatever, but he's playing left-sided centre-half. But the way he's moving the ball about, honestly, he is. He's like a central midfield ball player. Really good game from him. But the man of the match, second game on the spin for me, Mark McGuinness. At least a championship quality player. If he went back to Cardiff tomorrow, he could play every week at that level, and it won't bother him in the slightest, won't bat an eyelid. Absolute quality. Won everything in air. I can think of probably only 2 times in 90 minutes where his man's had a little bit of a run on him. Addison put one off at bar that he should have bedded. But again, he steps into things, he wins headers, he's strong, he's powerful, wins tackles. His use at ball's good, and he's actually, for a set, he's got a really good long raking pass, like the one that picked Patterson out in first half. So that's 2 back-to-back games now where I think McGuinness has been absolutely fantastic. Now, at the start of the video, I said that if results went our way, Wednesday had the possibility of going up into second in the table for the first time. Cracking result for Wednesday, 2 more goals scored by the strikers. Smith's got the double there, our under pressure strikers, and another clean sheet. So really good result for Wednesday, but we were just hoping that perhaps Portsmouth could get a result against Ipswich. But let's just have a look at how results went. Barnsley just below us in the table, they recorded a 2-1 win over Fleetwood. Plymouth who were top, 1-0 tight win there over Wycombe who were in chasing pack, and the game where we were hoping to maybe get a bit of a favour. Portsmouth 2, Ipswich 2. Ipswich leaving it right late though. Connor Chaplin in 87th minute rescuing them a point down at Fratton Park. So what's that done to the table? Let's have a quick look. So Plymouth still top of the table with their 1-0 win over Wycombe, 53 points for them. Ipswich rescuing that late draw at Fratton Park, that puts them on 49 points. Good news for Wednesday though, even though Ipswich pulled that goal back, our 2-0 win tonight puts us level on points with Ipswich on 49, also level on goal difference. Those clean sheets are really starting to come in handy, and now hopefully strikers starting to get on the score sheet. And to an extent that's all you can do. We can talk about other teams' results, and I've got to be honest, I had one eye on that Ipswich game tonight thinking come on Portsmouth. But focus on your own games, that's what the players are going to have to do, it's what the manager's going to have to do. Great 2-0 win tonight, clawing back, and it just applies pressure to those teams up there, because they will start just looking over its shoulder and, oh Christ, Wednesday are coming.